Hi, welcome to group coaching for those of you involved in the 21-day win. And here live, I will be over at the call-in number. That's a private number for those involved in 21-day wins. And if you want to find out about those, just go over to marnie.com and check that out. Okay, for members of the 21-day win, we are going to talk today about how do you get yourself to do something that's really hard, maybe something you're dreading, possibly something you have to do, but more likely something you're choosing to do, but that's very difficult to you. I'm actually going to take you through a guided exercise here, and then I'll be on the phone so you can just call in and ask at any point that you get stuck, and I'll help you through it. Okay, so number one, you need to make a list of the 3 hardest things that you've ever done. And I'm going to give you about a minute of music here, but then just know that you can fast forward if you get it done ahead of time or pause if you're not done. So write down a list of 3 of the hardest things you've ever done. Okay, great. Before we go on to the next part of the exercise, I want to just back up and give you a little bit of information about why and how to move into and past and actually succeed at something that's really difficult to do. First of all, it's important that you are very clear about what must be done, like exactly clear. The mind must be fully convinced and must know that it must do this now. So if there's any ambiguity at all, your mind is going to be like a lawyer, and it's going to ferret that out and throw all the other evidence out of court as inadmissible. It is not going to support your efforts because, as noted, this thing is hard, and the mind is a great navigator. It's going to always find you the path of least resistance. So in order for it to actually get on board with your goal of doing this hard thing, it must be convinced that this is absolutely necessary for you to do. If it's not convinced, and because it is hard, it's going to find all kinds of ways to go out and around and get you not to do it. But once you know that you must do it, you know exactly what you must do. The next thing is to know how to do it, exactly how to do it. You have to have a clear roadmap. It has to be reasonable. There has to be an end date in mind. There has to be rest periods along the way, or your mind isn't going to support your efforts. Finally, you must really set a clear end date. You cannot just say indefinitely, I'm going to keep doing this thing at this level of difficulty. It's just not going to work. They did a study years ago and told people on a treadmill that they were going to run for a certain period of time, and that at that time they would be able to stop, and then they would take these tests and get the results. With half of the case study, they told them a certain number of minutes, like they said you're going to run for 23 minutes. With the other half of the group, they didn't tell them a time. They said just run until we tell you to stop. The people who had the 23 minutes made it more than twice as far as the people who didn't, and some of the people who didn't have a number couldn't even make it for 5 minutes. Why? Because they had no end in sight. They had no hope. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that as you're working through this exercise with me and working toward establishing and succeeding at this hard thing, that you give yourself these things that are really important. You must know what you're going to do, that you have to do it, how you're going to do it, and you have to have an end in sight. Next, write down why this particular thing that you're wanting to get yourself to do seems so hard. Exactly what about it is causing you trauma? What makes it so hard? Number 3 is, what's the value of doing it? Get really clear with yourself. What is the rock solid payoff for actually accomplishing this thing that you're finding hard to do? Number 4, if you hired a personal coach right now to help you achieve this goal, what type of accountability would they set up for you? Exactly what program would they set up? What kind of accountability check-ins would they set up? What kind of daily reviews or whatever would they set up? You write those things down, what you think a coach would do for you. Number 5, if you happen to miss one of those targets that they set up for you, if you miss some of the mark, what would they do? What would happen to you? What would be your consequence? Or would they motivate you? Would they punish you? What would be your consequence? And number 6, are you willing to do these things for yourself? Are you really willing to go for this goal? If so, you need to set up your accountability and your program, your encouragement systems right now and get going. Again, I'm on the call right now on the line. So those of you who are participating in the 21-Day Win Live right now, just go ahead and give me a call and let me know how you're doing. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.